Gordie,
You big moose.
and
The
Willhelm
grumpy gnome.
in the morning.
Well, hey there, I'm Gordie.
And I'm Willhelm.
And, how's you go today there, bud?
I guess. It was a long week at work.
Yep.
So I'm definitely glad it's the weekend for sure.
Fair enough.
So, how you doing this morning?
I'm excited for another fun-filled day at the Moosewater Tavern. So, I'd like to start us off this morning by saying thank you to the entries we've got for the magic item contest. Some really good entries in there already.
Yep. And with that, last week we mentioned that yesterday would be the closing of the contest, and then we'd have announcements this morning. I received word from a couple people that they were having some issues with getting their stuff saved, or they were confused on how to put it in the Discord or whatever. So we are actually extending that contest until next Friday. So if you have ideas for magic items, you still have time. Get them created, get them put into the contests channel on the Discord. And by next Friday, this will be a hard cutoff. And then we will make our announcements on winners. And we will also try to have the announcement on the DMs that have participated and what their prizes are, whether it's a free game session or magic item being instituted in their game or whatever the case may be. So,
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
yeah.
So, Dean... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so this morning, I think we talked about just shooting from the hip. We're just having a general conversation. Whatever we come up with to talk about, we talk about, I suppose. We do have another brigade member this morning that was willing for us to do an interview. And actually one of the original members of the Moosewater Brigade, one of the original creators of the Discord. So we're pretty excited to have him on. So we'll get him on here in a minute, get an interview going, and see what D&D has been like for him over the years. I know he's been playing for quite some time. So
Yeah, a couple decades, that's all.
yeah.
And then we'll have to get him to do his nerd flex about a certain person he met and rubbed a dice on his head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of D&D for a moment, though, I did want to tell you that that build that you sent to me that we were talking about possibly doing for a future campaign.
Oh, the Mountain Blade?
Yeah. I think it's super cool, but I only have one request.
Uh-oh.
Whichever one of us takes whichever role, the blade has to be named Clyde, and the mount has to be named Dale, so that anybody who talks to the mount and says, "Who are you?" he can say, "I'm Clydesdale." Just saying.
Is that your one? Is that the one you're going with today? Jesus. So what he's referring to is there's this YouTube channel I watch religiously, D4, and he goes into heavy-duty meta builds. And I don't like to take what he does verbatim because they're fucking broken. But he has some really cool synergy ideas that you can do with class and race combinations and certain feats to look at that you wouldn't consider before. So yeah, he's really solid. And his newest video was this Mountain Blade combo with a character being a mount. And because, you know, Gordie has the platform and he's basically a mount for Willhelm anyway, I thought there might be some things we could steal for that, but he's gonna need some feats for that shit.
Yeah, and I don't. Based on what he said, I mean, if we try and of course, Gordie and Willhelm are high enough levels, and I mean, if we were able to do some alterations with feats or whatever, but following the rules of mounts and mounted combat, that would be difficult to do for Gordie and Willhelm. But yeah, the idea, the premise, was super cool. So,
Because I mean, if you had the mounted combatant feat, your AC is 10 higher than mine with shield. So
yeah,
you could deflect like certain half the blows to you and save me from getting the ever loving shit kicked out of me. But you won't.
yeah, but I think in order to get the proper taunts to create that deflection, I would have to multi-class.
Oh yeah, the fighter cavalry. Well, I mean,
Or, well, at a minimum, I'd have to have the mounted combatant feat.
yeah.
Because that's what allows you to deflect from the mount to you. So
That'd be about the minimum.
yeah.
Oh yes, yes. Thank you, Morin. Yeah. So should we talk about last night?
So yeah, so Gordie and I, as a matter of fact, along with our guest today, and a couple other tavern members, we are in another game on Friday evenings. It's a Tomb of Annihilation game, and we are getting ready to go into the jungles of Chult, and we were trying to get a pack animal, and there's a dino rancher there who races his dinosaurs. So two of our party members decided to become dino racers, and the rest of us just got to play NPCs, also racing, and it was quite interesting.
I guess we should save the results of the race till we're talking to our guest because he has some insight on that and how that went down.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the DM, of course, Tim is amazing when it comes to improv, just in the fact that our druid decided to speak with animals and talk to the dinosaurs. We found out their names, Princess and Gary. And then as the conversation began to continue, just out of the blue, talking to, Gary was the T-Rex.
Yep.
And
Princess was the Ankylosaurus.
yeah, and the druid began to talk again, and just out of the blue, Gary pops off and goes, "Oh, by the way, we're dating." And just, I mean, everybody lost it.
Fuck, dude, I had to mute, shut my camera off. I was dying. Oh, fuck.
So yeah, that was pretty good. So.
Oh yeah, I don't think anybody was not smiling by the end of that fucking game. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
that was one of those rare games where, like, you get a decent chunk of RP, you get some combat, you get a cool little mini event like that dino racing, you know. We completed a quest, we got, you know, good hook on progress on another one. You know, like, it was a perfectly well-rounded game. And that's what I think Tim really brings to the table. He works with the players and kind of makes sure you get a really fully well-rounded experience. So, if you yourself out there see any of Tim's games posted, we highly suggested joining him. He's a fucking phenomenal DM. Can't stress that enough.
And he's got, the other thing too with Tim is that he's got a variety of times. I mean, he's got some evening games, he's got some midday games. So, I mean, depending on your work schedule and your availability, there's a really good chance that you could find a time slot with Tim. So, yeah, definitely. And of course, Discord, links below. So make sure you come and check out the community, and find yourself a good DM, get into some games.
Hell yeah.
Make some new friends. I think that's how this whole thing was formed. Handful of guys that didn't know each other, and now, I mean, so Well, we want to move on to our tidbits.
Well, I think the mounted thing was kind of our tidbit, was it? Because I don't really have anything. We're running out of shit to talk about.
You just don't want me to bring up Willhelm's dark gift because Gordie hates it.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, okay, bring it up. Whatever. Yep.
Well, in a previous episode, I mentioned. Let's see if I can get it on camera. I mentioned the monocle, and where it. Well, I didn't actually mention where it came from, but Willhelm has always worn one over his left eye. However, there was a moment during an adventure where Willhelm took out a character who has since been lovingly referred to as Huevos Rancheros. And the character was wielding a blade that maintained encasement in shadow. And upon the killing blow, the blade decided to speak to Willhelm and choose him as the new bearer of this blade. This is not something that is carried on the back or attached to the hip or anything like that. It actually has to be summoned. And basically Willhelm does a religion check, and if he succeeds, he is able to summon this Wraith Blade. The catch to it is that it's not exactly a lawful good creature or spirit that embodies this blade. So Gordie absolutely hates it. And usually stays quite concerned for Willhelm, and Willhelm is currently in a bit of a struggle between whether to give in or not, I suppose. And more recently, his struggle became just a little bit tougher, but we're not going to get into that right now. So,
And correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe it was none other than our lovable Timothy Portnoy who bestowed you with the Wraith Blade.
actually, it was not.
It was not.
No. It was John.
It was John.
Yep. He stepped in. I think he stepped in for Tim, subbed in for Tim one night.
Oh.
Yep, and it was that game that we had that encounter. And no, I take it back. He stepped in for somebody else because I ended up having to tell Tim about it because they put it in the DM notes.
Yeah.
And I had to tell Tim about it. But yeah, it was John that gave it to me.
Oh shit.
So
my bad.
Yep. So anyway.
Fuck, do I gotta come up with a Gordie tidbit?
I was trying to think.
I mean, other than a goofy voice and a bunch of Canadian jokes, I don't know. I'm going, recluse! I don't know.
Well, and I suppose, because the deal about switching from a brighter monocle to this black monocle, that all happened on the mountainside, and we haven't really talked about that yet either, so yeah, we can save that for another conversation, because then we're talking about engraved runes and those kinds of things that came out of that adventure.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll do the mountainside adventure story.
Okay, well, if that's the case, we will move on to our guest. Mr. Brian has been with us since the beginning. Myself and Brian and you and Mr. Terrorless. God, I dread the day we interview. That's going to be an NSFW episode of Gordie and Willhelm in the morning. But yeah, so
Without further ado,
Brian, aka Ninx Mina.
what up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Thank you for joining us, you beautiful, beautiful man, you.
Yeah, I mean, I love getting pulled into online video chats in the morning while I'm finishing coffee.
Yeah, welcome to my Saturdays.
Well, now wait, did you let the coffee pot finish filling before you poured your first cup?
I have a Keurig, so I just kind of like groggily tell it I need caffeine, and it provides.
Oh, wait, I do have to make one introduction. Dr. Mom, this is Ninx.
Good morning, Dr. Mom! Sorry.
You don't need to tell her who I am. She doesn't even care.
Oh, Pat says Ninx, blink 3 times if you're under duress.
I'm pretty sure I've already blinked 3 times, but yeah, no, I'm under duress. Help me.
So
our usual kind of first question thing. If you would like to introduce Ninx Mina, OG Moose Water Brigade.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Ninx is a changeling divine soul sorcerer who draws heritage from the goddess Lyra, and generally just is out to make the world a better place. Just bring joy into it, and do so any way possible, including practical jokes, healing, turning people into T-Rexes, just pretty much anything.
yeah, we haven't seen much T-Rexes, but I have a funny feeling we are going to see some of that coming soon.
T-Rexes are such an unwieldy weapon of combat because most of the time you have to cast it on someone else unless you want to deal with concentration. And it's a lot to just drop into somebody's lap like, hey, you're a T-Rex now. What? No. I had plans. I was going to do something else.
And you have one in the coolest flavoring for your spells. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, actually, I don't think I talked too much about it, but Ninx is, when Ninx casts spells and things like that, it's it takes the form of kind of golden sand that takes shape, which I actually pulled from the golden sand from, I think it's a Pixar show, Sandman, if you've seen the Guardians.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like Sandman has the ability to basically just make shapes and cool things with this golden sand, and that's exactly where I ripped it off from.
Oh shit, I never clued into that. That's awesome. Fuck, I love that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the other thing too is the I know I'm going to mess up the name of the spell, but the life transference that you do.
Oh yeah.
The description that you give when you do life transference, I think, is really cool too.
Oh yeah, that actually I think comes from the necessity of the spell. So life transference, for everybody who doesn't abuse the crap out of that spell, deals damage to you and gives it to other people. And because Ninx is a changeling, I like to imagine it's just that part of Ninx that kind of changes and warps, kind of filling in the holes and the wounds of other people and just transferring that, basically replacing their skin with mine.
Yep.
Which, now that I'm saying it out loud, sounds just huge more creepy. Sounds a lot more creepy than I expected.
Somebody needs more coffee.
Well, if you put it that way, I imagine Gordie's hide is 90% Ninx at this point.
Well, pretty soon Gordie's going to become accidentally a changeling.
Just bare spots in the fur. It looks like a big moose that has mange.
Oh God.
Well, and if we kind of interject for a moment, as we were just speaking about T-Rexes, Tua got to ride a T-Rex last night, and was doing quite well, until the very last moment.
Oh yeah, no, that was karma coming to get me. I had a +2 to animal handling, and when Tim sent me to DC to ride that thing, I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna pass a single one of these tests," and I passed all but one. So that was, yep.
So what happened? What happened, Brian?
I was riding a T-Rex. Didn't want to make it angry, so I kept the. You had the option to whip it to make it go its dash speed, and I kept reserving that option for. Well, I just didn't want to whip a T-Rex. You know how like T-Rexes be, angry and full of teeth and things like that. And me being a level 1 bard, I didn't want to have that confrontation. So doing well, but at the end, it came down to if we wanted to win the race, I had to whip it. Fast forward a little bit, it turns out if you roll 5 under the handle animal DC, the animal goes berserk when you whip it. Now, as we kind of line these up, I rolled a 10, and apparently that was not enough. So I ended up having a T-Rex go berserk in the middle of not Cholt. What is the name of that city?
Port Naranzaru.
Yeah, Port Naranzaru.
Yeah. I'm terrible with names, and that that and Curse of Strahd, I just can never get the names correct.
That's fair.
They're terrible names.
So you got Gary killed, you bastard.
Gary got himself killed by not cooperating, is what happened.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was, I haven't laughed that hard in a game in a long time. Holy shit.
That was way too much fun. That was one of those sessions where it had no business being as fun as it was.
Yeah.
That's true.
When you get to know Tua a little bit, and you can almost picture Tua on the back of a T-Rex smacking it, and then this big T-Rex head turning around with its large maw and teeth. Like, you can almost picture Tua in that reaction of like, oh shit, I'm dead.
Just that moment where he's going at a pretty good pace, reaches down and slaps it, and he's like, "Hey!" and just it stops, like slowly turns its massive head around, like, ooh.
I'm so glad you had your camera on last night for that, because your face said it all. When you rolled that, oh my god.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually content coming in last place. I didn't care what I placed, but since our other companion was unable to place first, I was like, all right, well, let me put the hero play on the table. Nope, did not work. Did not work. It's a reminder to all those bards out there, never try and be the hero. You will end up being eaten by a young Tyrannosaurus.
But luckily, the city guard saved you by, I guess, a guard through one of those Yiquas, are they called? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yicula, I think is what it's called.
Yicula. Okay. And, it takes Gary in the head, and he falls dead, and everybody was more sad that the dinosaur died than you didn't get eaten.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sitting there, like, getting up from the dirt, like, oh, I'm so wounded, and everybody's like, the dinosaur!
So, fast forward to after the race, it turns out our other companion got second place, which was a 500 gold pot. So we were able to afford our Triceratops pack animal regardless. And he was reserving the right to name said dinosaur. But all of his names are terrible.
Oh, they are atrocious. I still think I need to be the one who names it, just because my names are the best.
I'm waiting to see him in chat.
You know what? I've started making a list. I'm not going to reveal them just yet. But all of them so far are amazing. Now, the critical mind among you may think, well, that list is currently 0 names, but 100% of those 0 names, fantastic.
Oh, wait. What if we hold a dinosaur naming contest? in the
Oh,
Discord.
there you go. There you go. Let the fans decide.
I am more okay with that than I should be.
And Don, you are not a fan, so you can't participate in the contest.
Well, yeah, he can. He has one entry. Just one. Yeah, how about we do that? That sounds like a thing we should do, right?
Well, there you go. You heard it here first, folks. Tomb of Annihilation Fridays. We have a Triceratops pack animal that we are going to be taking into the jungles with us, and because the rancher hasn't confirmed yet the gender of this particular Triceratops, but they need a name. So, I suppose we could still use the same contest channel that's already in the Discord. Just go into the contest channel and start dropping names for our new pack animal. Just make sure that you tag your naming with whatever, Triceratops naming contest or something, so that we know. So, Brian, how long have you been playing D&D?
22 years now. Yeah, just a little bit over.
And you got in 2nd edition or 3rd?
So I actually, I started playing in second edition in I want to say like 6 months or something before 3rd edition came out. Was when I started playing.
Okay.
So the majority of my time has been 3rd edition. Yeah. Well, 3rd edition 3.5, a little bit of Pathfinder.
And if I remember correctly, Gray. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess up. Greyhawk, Greylance, Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's your favorite, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in Greyhawk, which was a lot of the deities and things like that. I didn't actually pay attention too much to the setting, but the deities and the core like rules and stuff like that surrounding Greyhawk. Like I played more Paylor clerics than anybody else on the planet. I'm a huge fan of, the Greyhawk chord, even though he's been ported to I think every version now. But Heronius, Hexter, that kind of pantheon.
Yeah, and you were primarily a cleric main, right?
Oh yeah. In fact, I think 5th edition is the first time that I've played D&D where I haven't played almost exclusively clerics.
Right. Well, I mean, Divine Soul, you're pushing it there.
Not far off, actually. Yeah, no. When I started playing, when I first played, I played a barbarian because I was like, yeah, I just want to just play something that smashes things in the face with an axe. And then when I started playing Nynx, I wanted to play a healer and I wanted to play a cleric, but I wanted to play it differently. Because I kind of was at that point kind of bored of playing clerics, and they didn't have the Twilight Domain, which is the domain for me. So I switched over to Divine Soul just to test it out, and I actually fell in love with Divine Soul. I think it's just a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and for those of you out there that don't know, Gordie's cloud rune on his pipe is in the shape of a mynah bird. And it's inspired by Nynx, how my smoke takes in attacks and transforms to attack enemies. It's all based on Nynx's hijinks he gets into. So, yeah, Gordie's axe is Willhelm, Gordie's pipe is Nynx.
I'm so proud of you for having that there. that just makes me so happy.
Grayson.
Well, and so aside from playing D&D, you also DM.
Not well, but I do DM, yeah.
How long you been DMing for?
Oh shoot, I think technically about 20 years, but like on and off. I think if you added up the total time, I've probably been DMing probably for about closer to 5.
Oh, okay.
Just like here and there. I have a couple of year-long running campaigns that I've ran, but once a week does not make experience. But yeah, no, most of the time I've been on and off DMing since I started playing.
Yeah.
I actually found people like Tim. We were talking about him earlier. Like he has made me a better DM just because I'm used to people either being really good at storytelling or really good at rules and mechanics, and myself being kind of a rules lawyer. That's always where I kind of shined. And like people like Tim, just one of those people. Just like shit, I need to step up my game.
I just hate how good his British accent is. It makes me infuriated.
He does okay accent work. Yeah.
Yeah.
My voices and accents are offensive to say the least. They're just terrible.
Offensive.
I don't. I've tried the game that I run on Saturdays. I just like I've either tried or I've thought about trying, but I don't know that I can maintain it. Mm-hmm. And so I have that fear of not being able to maintain. So then I just don't even try. I might raise or lower the tone of my voice an octave, just to make it different. But voices are just not my thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's why when I DM'd, I used a lot of goblins so I could bust out my Smeagol voice.
Yeah.
They're like, we're tired of running out of goblins. Too bad that's the one voice I can do. So, what, normally we ask what's been your favorite D&D moment, but for you, I would say what's your top 3, because I know you've got a lot of great D&D stories, so.
Top 3 D&D moments. Oh shoot. That's actually a really difficult question.
Alright, just one then, I'm sorry.
Just one?
I don't want to put you on the spot, dude.
Oh no, yeah, no, I feel like I should have prepared for this. I didn't study for this exam. I need some time. So in order to kind of shift it away from D&D experience I've had with you guys, I think I would have to go to when we were playing in high school, our DM used exploding criticals, where the way that he would adjust criticals, if you rolled 2 20s in a row, you would then roll the dice until you didn't hit, and you would continue increasing the multiplier over and over and over and over again. And we were fighting some giant serpent. I rolled 2 20s in the middle of the table, just absolutely excited, and then I proceeded to roll a times 40 crit.
Good lord.
Jesus.
Absolutely obliterated this thing. And I think we changed the rule a little bit after that. But yeah, I think that was probably one of the most fun single dice rolls I've ever had.
No kidding. Holy shit. Was there anything left? Fuck.
Yeah, no, there was a lot left. I was not that big on damage. I used like a mundane warhammer. It's like I think it was like a 1d6 or 1d8. And so not a huge strength modifier, but yeah, just 40 hits, put it into the ground. It was I believe it was on the first attack of the first round too, so it was just like an opening.
Oh my god.
Just like hello. Wow.
So my curiosity comes in with a comment that Gordie made earlier, something about rubbing a dice on somebody's head.
Yes, actually, yeah. So I've discovered that D&D nerds have this thing where they just they like to brag about how long they've played D&D as if that's some sort of like badge of honor and makes you know more than everyone else. But and so I have the story. When I went to college, I went to Full Sail University down in Florida, and at the time teaching a class there for the game development career track was a man named Dave Arneson, and he taught rules of the game. Now, Dave Arneson, for those who don't know, is the original dungeon master. Like Gary Gygax is fine, but like he wouldn't have gotten anywhere without Dave Arneson. Not that I'm biased or anything. So I actually took a class with Dave Arneson. It was his last class that he taught before he retired. He rubbed my dice on his head. I still got that somewhere. Let me in this giant pile of dice. I'm not going to spend time getting it out, but yeah, I have a dice that has been rubbed on the head of Dave Arneson. And
That's
so,
amazing.
yeah, so when everybody starts flexing about how many years they played Dungeons and Dragons, I usually just tell them the story of when Dave Arneson taught me to play D&D.
I mean, that'll do it.
Yep.
But yeah, no bias at all.
Yep, no bias. I mean, Gary Gygax basically just took all of Dave Arneson's work. I don't know. You heard it here.
Holy shit.
So you said you shied away from moments with playing for us. What would you say has probably been one of your favorite playing Ninks?
Playing Ninks. So at one point we, this is actually fairly recent. At one point we played a game. How many buffs can we put on Gordie? That probably was the most fun that I've had playing those characters in a while. Just we went through potions, concentration, just a whole bunch of different items and things like that, and just stacked. What was it? It was like 10 buffs on Gordie.
Yeah.
Just at one point he was flying around with enhanced armor, speed, size, literally flying. He was hasted. He had holy weapon on. Just absolutely running through stuff. He's like putting vampires into the ground. Like one vampire turn was just getting annihilated from like across the map. Like he'd be over there like fighting somebody, and then this like 30-foot tall Musatar with a skyscraper that was lit in holy fire would come flying out of nowhere and just eviscerate him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then my favorite part of that was you activated that barrier. What was it called?
It was a scroll of protection versus undeath.
Right. And because Ninx was on the platform on Gordie's back that encompassed Gordie, so they had to, what was it, a wisdom save they had to make to even try to hit us?
Yeah, as an action, they had to make a wisdom save to overcome it. So they would expend their action to try and hit him, and I think about 50% of them succeeded, but I had another scroll. So I just used that one again. Just
Dan's face, oh my god. I think at one point you were like leaning on the platform, sipping sherry, looking him in the eyes.
Just yep.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, D&D isn't fun until it becomes absolute chaos, and then it is an absolute riot.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and speaking of chaos, I think we have an event coming up with the Brigade Plus that I think is going to turn into chaos. So,
More involved, yeah.
well, true.
I certainly hope so. Are we allowed to talk about that on air yet, or?
I mean, I suppose we could drop some hints, maybe. I wouldn't... Maybe talk more about it after it happens, but... As a matter of fact, because I don't think Gordie and I have talked about our trip to that town yet.
No. So maybe, yeah, I guess we'll save it till after.
Yeah.
But I guess a little sneak hint I'll give is there's a ghost from Gordie's past that needs to be put to rest. And he's enlisting as many of his friends' help as he can.
Yep. I think as far as the setup goes, we're looking at 12 players, 2 DMs, and 6 hours. So.
Be awesome!
Yep.
Round table discussion. Maybe.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're absolutely right saying there will be at some point. I know we're going shopping tomorrow
Mhm.
for supplies, which, Gordie, remember, diamond for Wilhelm, thanks. And and
I,
then,
I told you, axe comes first.
I know.
I gave up Roberta for our lives, okay? I'm getting a new axe.
Well, and there's probably, I don't know, Ninx, you probably have a couple diamonds, don't you?
I actually need to review and go over my inventory because I did very little inventory work when we started this campaign, and there's a lot of questions that I need answered.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it will be fun going to Waterdeep because Waterdeep is the native home of Nynx, so it'll be
Yep.
exciting to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
I want to see Tyler take your backstory, turn it into a baseball bat, and hit you over the head with it.
That the problem with that is Nynx is supposed to be purely support, including when it comes to story and things like that. So, like his backstory is designed so that he doesn't really have something like that. He's got no antagonistic backstory. He's got no people who have wronged him.
I know, but if there's a way.
No. My entire goal is to make other people the center of the story.
No, too bad you get your own arc. Suck it.
Nope.
Yeah, I went through because we did a long rest, which allowed me to alter my spell list, and I guess in preparation for tomorrow's game, I slotted some spells that I thought would be a little more beneficial for a setting like that. So things like detect magic, dispel magic, disguise self, tiny servant. Because I don't humbly have any. Because I put on my project. And so my thing is being a tinkerer, if I could make some music boxes, that I could use for trade, but then also with Tiny Servant, I can take an inanimate object, have it grow legs and arms and become animated, and then possibly use something like that for trade or something like that. So we'll see.
Could you use something like that to steal things?
Yes. So when you look at the description of the spell, I mean, if there's something that somebody wants and the shopkeeper were to be distracted, I could have an object grow arms and legs and walk to me, because you can command it. It'll follow your commands. So yeah, I could literally make something walk out, like grow legs and walk out. I don't know what happened. What did it grow legs and walk out? That's exactly what happened. So yeah.
So speaking of crime and the act thereof, is anybody packing distort value?
Yep, always.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I was gonna say.
Absolutely, always. Actually, no, I don't think I'm packing it right now. When we got rid of our bonus feats, I was forced to get rid of Shadow Touched. So yeah, no, I don't actually have distort value right now.
Oh no! I know you were the one that I've seen you use it before, so I knew you had it.
Yep.
We're gonna get kicked out of Waterdeep.
You're gonna have the brigade walking down the street with, like, I don't know, a keg of ale, a couple diamonds, and who knows what else, just with arms and legs walking down the street behind us.
Yeah. Whole parade of magic items, yeah. And then Kelvin Blackstaff runs and descends from his tower, and we go, oh fuck. Sorry, I cut you off, Brian. What's up?
That actually, one of my favorite hypothetical questions is how would you steal from a magic shop that had, the incredible security? Like, what's your go-to trickery for stealing? Have you guys ever thought about stuff like that, or is that just me?
As our characters, or as us? So I think that's an important question.
Okay, let's assume that you had to.
As Gordie?
Yep, as Gordie. How would Gordie like go about stealing or tricking or trying to get something valuable that he didn't want to pay for? Let's
He
assume that you had to. Yeah, like I said.
he would start a friendly conversation. He would get out one of his wife's baked goods, offer it to the shopkeep, and you're amazing, thank you. I was just given coffee. He would probably bribe them with pie, and then, while distracted, he would hope that one of his... Yeah, I don't think he would... He's big on the distraction on his part of crime, or beating somebody up. I don't think he could steal something. I mean, it's like you see a 7.5-foot tall Musatar. It's not exactly... what you call it? Conspicuous. Or inconspicuous, I guess.
I don't know. There's an example that I absolutely love. It's what you do is the fighter goes into like an armor shop or magical armor shop, and he has to test on the armor. You know, like put it on, kind of see whether or not it fits, whether or not it feels good, things like that. And then you have somebody run down the street and say, criminals are attacking. And then the fighter immediately runs out trying to stop them.
And then just keeps going.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good. How would Willhelm do it?
I think I would. I don't know. There's a couple different ways. I mean, because I've got Misfit, so either I could be the distraction or Misfit could be the distraction. I have the option to use invisibility on one or the other. I mean, if I were to command Misfit to essentially act like a bull in a china shop, to create a distraction, and then let's say something that I'm interested in is knocked off the shelf. Oh, let me pick that up for you. Quick sleight of hand. So I don't know. I think that there's a couple different ways that Willhelm could do something like that. Just with, like I said, having Misfit and then having some of the different skills that he has. I don't know. Wilhelm's gotten kind of bold here lately. I don't know if he would attempt something like, Ninx's idea about putting something on and running out the door and that kind of stuff. Like, he would just try and do it right there.
Shit.
Okay, but I think you're onto something with Misfit there. If you turned him invisible and then just had him walk around and eat things.
Right. Absolutely. That's kind of what I was thinking. As long as whatever it is small enough to fit in his mouth, then absolutely. And I've considered that because I do have invisibility slotted for tomorrow night. But if I just wanted to either put on a show or freak people out, climb up on Misfit's back and then turn him invisible, so I'm like, walking on air, just floating, but not actually using, levitate. So
awesome. Actually, I do have a request now that we're going to Waterdeep. I just watched Thor Ragnarok last night. Can we find a way or an excuse to do Get Help?
Okay, but Willhelm has to be the one that you throw.
Done.
I imagine that more like a football toss now that I'm thinking about it.
Look at that, a perfect spiral!
Okay, but if we did custom make Willhelm like what are those like German like World War One helmets with a spike on the top?
Oh my god!
Man, it could work. It could work. I don't want to put any ideas into your head, but like that idea should go in your head.
Well, I've volunteered to be thrown before, so
Toss me.
Yep.
This is my favorite part about D&D, coming up with stupid shit you can do.
Yep.
Oh, actually, can I tell the story of how we threw Gurren?
Oh my gosh.
So,
Please.
okay, so we had 3 barbarians in a party. Myself, Gurn, Dareth Krosh, and Valken. And when the 3 of us did get together, we come up with really stupid shit to do. So we were coming up on a white dragon's lair, and he was sleeping in his den. But patrolling the outskirts of his den were a bunch of, I think they were Draco Bloods or half dragons or something along those lines. So we had to get through all of them just to get to the dragon, and he was grounded. Once he got in the air, 3 barbarians, you're fucked. So me and Balkan were both packing, I wasn't Rune Knight at the time, but me and Balkan were both packing enlarge potions. So we're like, Gurren, what if we get you next to the dragon and you attack it before it can move? He says, okay. So we each grab an arm and a leg, and 1, 2, 3 hucked him. He raged in midair, axe out, started combat. He took bludgeoning damage from impacting the dragon. But then Gurren doing what Gurren does, hi Doodle, fucking unloaded on the dragon, and then Gordie got hasted, so the dragon was down in 1 round. It was awesome. He needs rocket boots for the final approach. Oh my god.
So that's a mechanic when you talk about like throwing Willhelm and whatever he impacts, he takes bludgeoning damage. But what if Willhelm cast shield in midair? Would that not protect him from bludgeoning damage? I mean, theoretically.
I think the real question is if you cast Featherfall while you're in air, do you take damage if you hit the ground?
Oh, there you go. I think I might still have a spell slot or 2 open. Might have to throw Featherfall in there.
Oh god.
And that was how we got to Paragnomes.
Paragnomes. Oh my god. Gnome Team 1. Oh. Genius. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
So we got about 9 minutes left. What do you guys... Did we forget to talk about anything?
Well, we didn't have a script for this morning, so I don't know if we forgot about anything or not. There's nothing written down.
In about an hour we'll be kicking ourselves. What's up, Brian?
I just looked at the schedule and we have covered everything.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's pretty good when your guest has the schedule for you, so.
Yeah.
That's just how efficient we are.
Yeah. So the producer isn't going to kick our ass?
I don't know. Say we good?
Yeah, if anybody's a producer, I guess it would be. Don't ask me. Well-oiled machine. Yeah, all right. Well,
Like pulling Crisco on a winch.
Did you say wench or winch?
Winch.
Oh my god. Oh god.
Don't you judge me.
I'm sorry. Fuck, we got 7 minutes left and I don't know what to talk about. Oh, Tiny Tina's is coming out soon.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
So,
Do you know when that's actually coming out?
I'm afraid to touch anything because I'm going to fuck up the computer. Someone else pull it up. I know it's in April.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Oh, Pat, when are we doing Earth Defense Force 5? Do you want to do it tonight? We don't have any games tonight, do we?
March 25 was the answer to your question.
March 25?
Yep.
Oh, it's almost fucking here. Oh my god. We better get all our other games out of the way and done, because we're going gangbusters on that shit.
This is the one that you guys did before, right?
Tiny Tina's? What we did before was, so Borderlands 2 had Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, which was just a DLC. But
Right.
it was like one of the best selling DLCs of all time. And obviously super popular within the Borderlands franchise. So they just took that DLC and decided to make a whole game just based around it, all D&D themed and fantasy themed. And me, Jill, and Pat did a reaction video to a gameplay trailer, and the fucking guns and abilities look so awesome. And you can multi-class in that, which is, oh my god, I just can't wait. Yeah, fuck Destiny. Also explosions, yeah. Yeah, Pat, you're a Torg man, aren't you? You seem like a Torg man to me. Sorry. Explosions? Better?
Oh, whatever, say. You do just fine.
Someone slap that boy.
If it makes you feel any better, I also will suck at that game, so we can suck together.
Yeah, I've never played it, so I can't imagine myself being any good at it.
Oh, it's just for fun. We're gonna be playing it more for the jokes anyway. Like, it's Tiny Tina is voiced by the amazingly talented Ashley Birch, and she is born to play that role. So just the voice lines we're gonna get out of that game alone are gonna be well worth playing it for. So, God damn it, Pat. Well, with that, I guess we should probably call it a wrap, eh? Because I had a mini visitor there asking for my present, so.
Uh-oh.
Ironically enough, I just got 3 that are asking for mine as well, so.
All right.
Well, I feel left out. No one's asking for my presents. I guess I'll just...
Dr. Mom, give your son a hug. Shannon, if you're watching, give him a hug.
All right, gentlemen. Well, Brian, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Glad you were willing to be forced to interview. And yeah, great conversation. Just a quick recap. Remember that the Magic Item Contest will be open for another week. So next Friday is the cutoff. Also on this morning's show, we decided to create another contest, Dino naming contest for a Triceratops that is going to be a pack animal. And so, yeah, if you didn't get a chance to watch this live, you can watch it on VOD, Twitch, YouTube, Discord. All of it is down below. So leave us comments. Let us know any type of content or information you would like us to talk about in the future. Come join us on Discord. Hop in some voice chats with us. And thank you to everybody who has become part of our family and continues to become part of our family. And have a good rest of your weekend.
Gordie
You big moose.
and Will.